Christianity is the dominant religion, and the environmental issue is the biggest issue in our modern time. When Christianity came about, it has largely dominated the ancestral traditions, such as shamanism. However, as a truth in the universe, that the old data draws upon the new without discarding the old information, but rather the model gets updated. However, in the context of civilization as a whole, humanity is caught up making the same series of mistakes over time. Christianity is, as we know, firstly as directed as a personal message of salvation. Christianity, however, has also appeared to reject a large aspect of its own teaching, of being good stewards of the earth. At what point has Christianity publicly dared to step into the gap of our environmental crisis? Most religious systems do have this component of caring for the earth. For Native American cultures, for example, the earth, as well as their relations to every living thing, is essential and not separated from their spirituality. And this is noteworthy because the environmental issue is again the biggest issue in our modern time. This is why the environmental issue is a spiritual and religious issue. Otherwise, we leave the problem to be resolved by this very same group of people who created this disaster. However, as the Bible reads, "If my people, who are called by my name, humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land." 2 Chronicles 7:14. However, since Christians are not doing this, the responsibility over this issue is, as it were, in times past. The earth has a voice, and it is the voice of the natives. It was calling out to them just as it is calling out to us. However, today, modern man does not seem to be able to perceive into the wonder of staring into the abyss of the stars at night. The story of the Good Samaritan, I think, does demonstrate some profound lessons about our modern day. This story entails lessons of not only loving your enemies, but also learning from your enemies. This is a lesson about self-reflection because it means staring yourself down in a mirror. Now, what is needed is ultimately some kind of technology of awareness that causes humanity to repent of our destruction, not only of ourselves, but of the earth at large. Einstein said, "Few are those who see with their own eyes and feel from their own hearts." The issue to get to these truths to begin with is we have to get back to our Christian roots. In the context of religious ritual, a foundation can be built within the individual practitioner. Change begins at the individual level, and then it branches out to everything else. Change can be built within the religious practitioner. Within the context of ritual, a foundation can be built to make real how our actions affect everything else. So what is needed, I think, is a kind of religious environmentalism. Einstein also said that the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking, and it cannot be changed except changing our thinking. What happened in the 60s is that young people decided they would attempt to create their own form of ritual through psychedelics because they felt they weren't getting it from their culture at large. A large impediment towards recognizing with awareness the predicament we are situated in is that in our day-to-day lives We are all just so busy. This busyness interferes with our personal growth, as most of us are also ensnared into many approval-based relationships which make it difficult for them to know what they want. All of this takes away from our goal as Christians to be still and know. Ritual is a way to provide space to breathe. Self-actualization bleeds into the environmental issue because the whole world is misaligned. However, Christians are very unaware, and perhaps most unaware, of their unconscious relationships towards nature and the environment. The rates of cancer, diabetes are at a all-time high in contemporary society. They are prepared to increase in the coming years. All this demonstrates that we are misaligned with our nature and environment. This is so because the ethos of our world has been long on this model of attempting to be God over nature, instead of being docile collaborators working in harmony with the earth. Now, this is what creates our disenchantment with the natural world. It also plays a practical role in terms of our mental health in contemporary society. This may be why plants like ayahuasca, which have always remained in the Amazon basin, are now making their way to the United States, because this is where they are needed. In the United States, when these substances hit the world stage, they were banned immediately, not thought out. We need to remember that only in our modern time have we started to really wise up on this issue and begin to acknowledge that these substances are tools. For in the world of psychology, these substances specifically are recognized as useful. The reason why the phenomenon of psychedelics has come to exist in our world, I think, is to tap the world into a more spiritual direction. It is, however, a desperate matter for spirituality to manifest itself in a physical form. It ultimately is not true. However, as many of you may have heard this quote, that many spiritual leaders have observed, we are all just spiritual beings having a human experience. The point is that we as humans in our physical realm of existence do not end here. Rather, the spiritual realm, which is eternal, is even more real than what our senses can perceive on this earth.